We're here at Lake Marion, focused on the 21st year of Camp Happy Days, the loving answer for children with cancer. Stay tuned. Carolina People's coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Somerton, South Carolina. We're at Camp Happy Days, and we're focused on happy days and special times. And we're visiting with Bill Richburg, otherwise known as Fish Belly. Good morning, Bill. Good morning. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. How did you get that nickname, Fish Belly?
Oh, being at camp for children, they do a lot of nicknames for the counselors here, and being a person who quite obviously stands out, they were determined on day one to get me a nickname, and they managed to succeed. Around the water with one of the girls named Trouble. I was asking her how she got the nickname Trouble, because it's kind of a weird name to have. And yeah, she apparently got in trouble a lot her first year at camp, when she was a camper actually then. And she was determined to nail me some sort of nickname. And being a pale person too, I'm out in the sun there, and they were like, you need to make sure you get plenty of sunscreen, because you're going to fry. And I stupidly said, yeah, of course I'm going to fry. I'm Fish Belly White. They're like, Fish Belly.
That's it.
And actually, I introduced during the pine cone ceremony that night, which is when all the counselors basically tell their story of why they're there. And I was introduced like third person in a row. I was my first year there. I knew no one there. And third person in a row, I'm introduced as, like, my name is Bill. And Flash, the director, was like, what's your real name? I'm like, Bill Richburg? No, Fish Belly. I'm like, Fish Belly. So I had no shot. I mean, there are people here who don't even know me by Bill. Fish Belly. They wouldn't know me as Bill. So.
Oh yeah, they'd hear Bill called out. They'd be like, "Where's he? Who's that?"
I don't even turn to Bill at camp anymore. So.
I love it. That's great. Well, this is a special place, Bill. There's nothing like it, is it?
No, it is impossible to describe this place. It's so hard to describe the fact that a friend of mine, Patrick, I had to bring him here so you can see it, because you can't. There's not words to explain what goes on here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bill, are you originally from the area?
No, I'm a Navy brat, so I've lived in Japan, Guam, Florida, California, actually born in Tennessee, but I've lived there for like a year or so. I don't really claim Tennessee.
How did you learn about happy days and special times?
Yeah, another odd story. I work at Blockbuster, and we were doing the Children's Miracle Network, where they had the balloons, and you do a $1 donation.
Right.
And we were doing a lot of those. It really it felt kind of useful to be doing that. And we'd gotten our entire front windows covered, which no store had ever done before, really, around there. And this girl came through wearing a Happy Days shirt, and I was like, "Hey, you're gonna give $1, right?" And she talked a little bit about the program, so they always need guy volunteers. It's free, it's a week. But it sounded interesting, and I was planning kind of looking into it, but I wasn't really planning on doing it. Then about 3 people down the line, I encountered a very not quite so nice person who I was basically like, hey, it's $1 donation. And you got a coupon on there anyway, so basically you got your money back.
Right.
And her response to it was, well, no, I volunteered once when I was a kid, and I think I've done enough. And I was kind of like, what's enough? How do you define enough?
Right.
And she came back at me with, well, what have you done? And I've done some Red Cross volunteer work as a kid. I did some youth soccer programs, stuff like that. And I was like, well, yeah, that, and I'm volunteering at Happy Days this year, you know? And it was really just more of a shout back at her. I was at the time looking for something to do, and that just you don't find Happy Days, it finds you. You know?
That is fantastic. That's a great story. It's something surprising like that oftentimes locks you into memories for the rest of your life. What about what year was that, Bill? Fish Belly, excuse me.
Who?
I'll get that right.
It was actually 3 years ago. Actually, it was 2000. This is my third year here.
And this was down in Charleston.
Here.
I mean, excuse me, Charleston.
Yeah.
The Blockbuster in Charleston.
Blockbuster in Charleston.
Right. You're currently a student.
College of Charleston. Huh?
Okay, great. Fantastic. Do you have family in the Charleston area?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my parents and my sister live in Charleston also.
They've been pretty active. And have any of them ever been to Happy Days?
No. Both my parents are nurses, and my sister's a college student also. Mm-hmm. And no, they're not active with Happy Days, but they support it. I mean, no one. You won't find anyone who doesn't support Happy Days. You know, it's just.
What does Fish Belly do to prepare for the week at camp? This 1 week piles so much in. What do you do to prepare?
Being a large guy who works indoors 90% of the time, I like to go outside the first basically the first month before camp, I try to get out as much as I can in the sun, try to get a little bit of a sunburn on me so I don't fry quite as much. Actually, I'm one of the people who I grow my hair out for camp. This is why the head shave, we're all shaving our heads this week. And most people, when they shave their head, it's a big ordeal because they don't usually have a head shave. I usually shave my head, so I have to grow out hair before I come to camp so I can shave it. So.
What about for the children who are here with you? Can you tell us what this week at Camp Happy Days means for the campers?
I think the biggest thing with the campers here is it's that unity. Happy Days is unique in having siblings here also. So you've got that entire family bond there. You've got people who know what people are going through. I mean, I'm pretty unique, I think, as a counselor here in that no one in my family has cancer. No one I know has cancer. Well, until I came here, of course. I've never lost anyone with cancer until I came here. And most people here, I mean, I'm the freak here. I'm the weird one, you know, because I don't have any, you know, chemo stories. I don't have any, and I think just the fact that these kids can, you know, if you're at a beach somewhere and you see someone walking out with one leg, you're going to stare, you look at them, you're going to look at them strange, whatever. But here at camp, I mean, you'll see, you know, two kids, you know, both amputees swimming in the water together, like comparing stories about what happened in their surgery, and like laughing about stuff, you know, and it's, you know, no one is weird.
That's powerful. That's powerful. If someone met you out on the beach, let's say, or saw you now at Blockbuster, and they asked you, what does Camp Happy Days mean to you? Like fish belly. How could you sum it up?
It's impossible. I can't. I mean, it would take.
You just tell them about the activities. You just try to.
You can't. I mean, like
visualize
activities. I used to tell people from last year, like, what do you do at camp? Like, well, last year we had a trapeze. I did a trapeze. I did a low wire. I did low rings. I rode an elephant. I kayaked every day. We rode boats. We went tubing. I mean, you start thinking about all the stuff we did. That was just in 2 days. You know, we do like 5 dances, 2 skits, a talent show, and you start thinking about every single thing you do there. And just event-wise alone, it's overwhelming. And not even mention the emotional stuff. I'm sure. Do you keep in touch with any of the campers during the other 51 weeks of the year? Not really. A lot of ones in Mount Pleasant I see them all the time. They come through in my store there. From my first year, I actually lost some of my campers. So
3 years ago.
Yeah. So I really didn't get to.
When you think of special memories, Fish Belly, of your involvement with Happy Days, and can you share any of those with us? We've got a couple of minutes.
I mean, the best story I've ever heard was our story. One guy gets up, he's like, yeah, my sister, I came here like 15 years ago, he said, that my sister was diagnosed with 6 months to live. He said, well, I'll let her finish the rest. And she gets up. You know, all these kids, they think, adulty, if you have cancer, you have to die. And that mindset locks you in. And here they say, you don't have to.
I remember, I think, Debbie or Flash, the camp director, was in a couple of weeks ago back at the station, our Myrtle Beach studio, talking about that and explained that story, Star's story, which was a powerful one. I had trouble wrapping the interview up. Do you participate in other Happy Days and Special Times events during the year?
Yeah, I've tried to become a lot more active with it because it's Happy Days is a drug, you know. And I've been trying to work on planning committee this year. I was doing some of that. I did a runway at a model show for a silent auction in a clown suit. Very dignified, of course. I dressed up in this suit when I did the Christmas reunion. I went to the Thanksgiving dinner they had.
If someone asked you about Debbie Stevenson or Flash, what would you say about
Run.
Get out of the room, take off?
First I would explain that she is not clinically insane. She just appears to be. I mean, when you deal with the stuff that Debbie does and have to have that much stress on her, it's this big mask she wears. You know, it's her shield she puts up, and it wouldn't be camp without her. I mean, she's been there since day one. So,
what did you learn the most from your work with the children at Camp Happy Days? When you think through the learning experiences for you and something that you can share with others? Is there something that you can pass on to others in particular?
There's two real things I've really learned from Happy Days. One is how much, how many things we do at camp, you know. In a regular day, like my busiest day, I wake up, I have breakfast, I go to school, I come home, and I waste 5 to 6 hours waiting to go to work, where I hang out at work for 8 hours doing a fairly menial, boring job. I go home, I goof off in an hour or two, kind of fall asleep. So I've done two major activities versus at camp here. I mean, you'll do 20 or 30 major activities in a day. It really makes you realize how much of your day and your time and your life that you waste. Mm-hmm. And that's just on the logic, the thing you can quantify. You can quantify that I waste time, you know, it's an hour to kill, you know, there's no hours to kill here, you know. And the stuff you take back from there on the emotional side, I mean, you have to go. I can't.
Mm-hmm. So prioritizing time is definitely something. I mean, there's enough time in a day to really get a lot done if you use that time wisely.
You actually think about it, yeah, and you actually use it.
Lastly, Fishbelly, if there was a message that you'd like to send out to viewers seeking their support for Happy Days and special time, there was something, if you were going to share, if you had a minute to talk to folks in eastern South Carolina and western North Carolina, would there be a message you'd want to send to them?
Just, I mean, find someone you know who's been there, you know, call up Flash and talk to them. I mean, no matter where you are, there's probably someone near you who's been there, and talk to them, because I mean, I'm not going to go into stories here on camera because I will get choked up. So
we're visiting with Bill Richburg, Fishbelly, and we're at Camp Happy Days in Somerton, South Carolina. Stay tuned for more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Somerton, South Carolina. We're at Camp Happy Days, and we're focused on happy days in special times. And we're visiting with Shawn Griffith, otherwise known as Cheeks.
Cheeks.
Good morning, Shawn. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Incredible opportunity to highlight Camp Happy Days, to think about everything happening right behind us. So much going on all week.
All week, yeah.
The real important thing, though, is how did you get that nickname, Cheeks?
Cheeks, the first day I was here, this is my first year at camp, and the first day I was here, we were out tubing on the boat, and I was tubing, and I fell off, and my pants fell off. So they were all the way off, so I had to put them back on. And trying to put my pants back on, I kind of mooned everybody.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I got the nickname Cheeks for mooning everybody.
That's a memorable experience. It'll go home.
Yeah, first day here.
I love it. I love it. That's been tough with your a pretty red face then, too, I'm sure. You weren't thinking about that.
I didn't know very many people here, so, you know, I was mooning everybody on the first day, you know.
I love it. I love it. Cheeks, where are you from? Are you originally from the area?
From North Charleston.
Okay.
Lived there for most of my life, so North Charleston.
What grade are you going to be in when school starts back?
I'll be heading into 9th grade.
Is that right? Starting high school?
Starting high school.
That's a big move. Yeah. Are you at a public high school?
No, I'm in a private high school.
Is that right? That's great. When you think about subjects at school, is there something that really sticks out in your mind? Any favorite subjects?
Lunch. Does that
Lunchtime.
Work?
Fantastic.
No, actually, I like science. Science
really?
is probably one of the most interesting subjects. Yeah.
Had you been at Camp Happy Days before, or is this your first time?
No, this is my first time.
This is your first trip.
Yeah. Third day.
If today was your last day and you were going home and someone was asking you on the way back to kind of summarize what you've experienced for the last few days, how would you summarize, other than the experience of your pants falling down, how would you summarize some of what's been highlighted on the first few days here?
Action-packed. We do stuff all the time. I mean, even if we don't have anything to do, we can go kayaks, we'll talk. We always do something cool. Mm-hmm. Even 3 days through, I already know that. So.
Is the food pretty good?
It was awesome.
Is it really?
Yeah, man. It was awesome. That's why I come. That's why Flash made me come. She was like, dude, we have a little food. So I came.
Now, when did you first meet Flash?
One of the times I was in the hospital. I met her, and she came and visited me and told me about Camp Happy Days. And so I said I'd come.
And have your parents interacted much with Flash, or have they been a part of this experience? How did they find? They were pretty welcoming when Flash approached you about Camp Happy Days. That's great.
She had her lightning bolt hat on, so yeah, they kind of like, all right. But she's cool.
I hope she's got her lightning bolt hat with her today. We're going to have to get her in a little bit. Do you like sharing a cabin with other kids? What's that like?
Oh, it's good because I don't know anybody, so it gives me a chance to know people, to meet new people and to, just see how other people are.
Had you ever met any of them before?
I roomed with two of them in the hospital, so I know two of them, and we're pretty good buddies. We go on other kind of trips together. So.
Over the last few days, have you been able to arrange to try to stay in touch with some of the other campers after camp?
I've talked to other people about getting their email addresses and phone numbers, and yeah, I've tried to arrange stuff like that. So.
Are you online a good bit? Good bit. Absolutely. Even going into 9th grade. God, I can't imagine what that was like. So you've already exchanged email addresses. How about a swimming test? Have you been out in the water much? Other than the first day. Oh, my God.
I've done and completed the first few polar bear swims that we've had.
Okay.
It's about a half-mile swim.
Right.
And, and I passed the swimming test.
Great. How about, as you sit here now and think, you got here on Sunday. A lot of the counselors got up here on Saturday. What about a favorite thing already at camp?
Probably tubing. Yeah,
Really?
it was, I'm looking forward to a lot of the other activities we have, but tubing was probably the most fun thing so far. We have stunt shows too. And so.
What do you like best about tubing?
Pants falling.
Yeah, there we go. You know what? He really likes that nickname, Cheeks. How about if there was anything you could say to Flash now, as she talked to you while you were in the hospital, and the experience of trying to encourage you to come up here, if there was a message you wanted to give to Flash?
She's done a great job with this whole Camp Happy Days and saying everybody, and I met a girl that's been here for 20 years, and I think she's done a great job with everything.
You met a girl already who's been here 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. Did she tell you why she'd been coming back for 20 years?
No, 20 years though.
You just, that's a pretty amazing experience. Wow. Mm-hmm. We're visiting with Shawn Griffith. Cheeks, as will now be known. Hopefully he'll be back many years to come. Shawn, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Somerton, South Carolina at Camp Happy Days. We're focused on Camp Happy Days and special times, and we're visiting with Kimberly LaJoie, a counselor here at Camp Happy Days. Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Incredible to think about all the activities going on all week long, to think we're right in the middle of it. Y'all will be here through Friday, and it's so exciting to get out.
Very exciting.
To get out of our viewing area and come over here. You are a former camper for 15, 16 years, and now a counselor for the last 4 or 5 years. How did you make that transition, Kimberly?
I've been involved with Happy Days since I was a year and a half, and Happy Days was a part of my life, and I couldn't stop when I turned 18. I had to be a counselor, you know. So now I'm a counselor.
That's fantastic. Great. And you're in school in Boston.
I am.
What are you studying?
I'm a double major in human development and child life, which is, child life is something that you work in the hospital with kids, and I want to do oncology.
Really?
Pediatric oncology, yep.
What's prompted your interest in oncology other than being out here on such a...
Well, definitely my history. I want to, be a good influence on children, tell them, I've done this, I've been in the same shoes you have, and you can do it, and you can fight. And keep them with a positive attitude.
That's fantastic. Your first experience at camp was literally 20 years ago.
Yeah.
How many camps had happened before you first attended?
I believe 2.
Is that right?
Yeah, 1 or 2. Uh-huh.
So it's been in existence, I think, more than 20 years now. When you think about hearing about, obviously you don't remember that first time you heard about Camp Happy Days, but for your family, have they told you about what it was like for them when Debbie originally approached them?
Yes, they have. This was the most positive thing that's ever happened to my family, because it kind of showed them that there are other people that survived, other children that survived cancer, and kind of showed my family that I too can survive it. And my family, they had a positive attitude, so of course I had a positive attitude, and I survived.
Right. Do you have brothers and sisters, Kimberly?
I do. I have 2 sisters.
Is that right?
Yep.
3 girls?
Yes.
No boys?
Yes, no boys.
Wow. Our director, Wayne Harris, has got 3 daughters, too.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
Yes, very much so.
I figured out they're fathers and then they're fathers of daughters, so your dad's a blessed God. How long have you've been a volunteer now for the last, you said since you turned 18,
right.
So for the last 4 years? Are you going into your
5 years.
senior year now?
I'm a junior.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
How about the experience of knowing that you want to work in a hospital environment and be able to be around, in an oncology ward, to be around children, and this is pediatric oncology?
Pediatric
is your
oncology.
interest?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's a big commitment.
It is. I'm totally dedicated. This is my whole life. I just want to show these kids that they can win the battle.
For kids you've been with up in Boston, are you able to talk to them a little bit about Camp Happy Days, the experience?
I do. They have a similar thing that does not sound as much fun as Camp Happy Days, but I do. I talk about it and try to get them, interested in going, because it is something that needs to happen.
What did you do to prepare for your week here at camp?
Ooh, I got lots of sleep, and that's really it. I just kind of put my happy face on and came to camp.
That's fantastic. When you think back about folks who bump into you, even non-children, if you were talking to somebody, let's say a 25-year-old, another student, about the experiences at Camp Happy Days, are there a couple of highlights that you're able to talk about? I know there's so many experiences you probably can't share almost. It's too difficult to put into words.
When you go home from Happy Days, you just feel this amazing power that you get from just being here for a week. I mean, you just have this happy just glow, like for the rest of the year. This is just like a positive thing. I try to tell them this is the most wonderful thing. Actually, I brought my best friend this year.
Oh, really?
This is her first time. She's a counselor, and I just wanted her to be involved with this too, because she knows how important it is to me.
Is she the best friend from college or best
She's
friend
my best
from home?
friend from home.
Right.
Yeah.
And home is?
Somerville.
South Carolina, yes. Do you keep in touch with any of the campers during the year? And now, real quick, for counselors, y'all have how many campers with you normally?
We have 2.
Okay.
Normally.
Okay. And so, for those 2 folks each year, do you have maintain much contact with them?
I most certainly do.
Really?
I do. I talk to one of my campers probably every other day. And then I've adopted a couple too. Also amputees that got their leg amputated or legs amputated. We have one, and I talk to them throughout the year. I try to keep them moving, going.
Wow. Wow. Kimberly, I guess the big question is, how did you not get a nickname?
I have no idea. I have no nickname.
That is nuts.
And I've done some weird stuff.
How exciting! I mean, that's amazing to think about. It's so when Flash and Captain Ahab came in to the Myrtle Beach studio, I guess about a month ago, 3 weeks ago or so, when we opened up with "You'll meet Flash and Captain Ahab," it's so exciting to think about the commitment about being in a location to know.
Right.
That everyone is known as one thing for 1 week, and then probably that same thing all year round.
Right.
That's a big deal. Do you participate in other Happy Days and Special Times events during the year?
I do. When I'm home, I do. I try to go to the Camp Happy Days, Christmas reunions, and the Halloween parties that they have. And whenever I'm home, I'm trying to get involved and go do something with them.
What does Happy Days and Special Times provide a child and family that's struggling with cancer?
It gives them hope, and it gives them just a lot of hope. When they see other kids that have been through the same thing, they see that their child can also win.
If you had a message you'd like to send to viewers, and of course our viewing area, the PD of South Carolina, the Grand Strand, and much of southeastern North Carolina, the Lumberton-Laurinburg area, folks who may not have experienced Camp Happy Days. If you had a message you wanted to send out to them, what do you think that would be?
I would tell them if they could possibly get involved, this is the most wonderful thing they would ever do in their whole lives. And it truly is.
Lastly, Kimberly, if you were going to sum up what Camp Happy Days means to you, can you put that in words?
Camp Happy Days is my life. It really is. Yep. Everything, who I am is because of Camp Happy Days. It truly is, because I've been involved for so long, and Flash has basically raised me, too. I am Camp Happy Days.
We're with one of Flash's many, many, many children. North Carolina people coming up next.
We want to thank Debbie Flash Stevenson, Camp Happy Days volunteers and campers for making today's Carolina people so special.